go, 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 go!
This is adorable. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, the channel in which we make everyday healthy decisions more of a lifestyle change rather than just a diet. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about obstacle course races, specifically Spartan. What is a Spartan race? Just like I mentioned, obstacle course race. It's a specific obstacle course race that I like to run. And a Spartan race, pretty much they have different lengths. They do a race in pretty much every single state that I know of. They have a wide variety of extremes. Some of the races can be very long. I think 52 miles, I want to say, is the longest one. They can be very short. 2.5 miles, I want to say, was my shortest. I have done so far 5 races. My very first race was back in 2016. I did what they call a sprint, which is one of the shorter ones of the races that they have. It is where you run between 2.5 to about 5.5 miles. They vary at every location depending on what they have available. The races have obstacles throughout the course. So you could be looking at climbing walls, which is one of their big ones, doing uneven monkey bars, which is pretty tough, rope climbing, sandbag carries, bucket carries, which is a bucket full of rocks. You could be finding yourself doing minimum 12 to 20 plus on a sprint. My very first sprint race was the Boise Sprint, which was one, for the record, it was a hot race, very dry. I did the open, which is kind of just open for everybody. There's no competition. You're not expected to be held to a certain standard in regards to your completion of the obstacles. They don't have judges, but there's also nothing that you can win if you are able to win. With that being said, they have what's called a competitive heat. They also have the elite athletes, which are the females and the males. They split them up, and they have some intense runners. And last year I did my first, what they call a trifecta race, which you have the sprint, the super, and then the beast. The beast I did was in Lake Tahoe. The super I did that year was actually down in Utah. The Salt Lake one, I think is what it's called. And then I did for my sprint, I did the Las Vegas run, which was actually, I think, in Arizona, technically about 2 hours away from Las Vegas. There's no rhyme or reason to the cities I've decided, just whatever's close. This year I did just one obstacle course race. I decided to get my daughter involved and got her into doing the kids race. I did the sprint, and with that I have completed 5 altogether. One thing about this, why do I do them? I've been asked so many times by so many different people on why do I do obstacle course races. And this is just coming from the heart. This is just me talking to you guys. I enjoy doing them. I find that when I first started working out, I was a runner. I've been running since I was in middle school, and I first started doing cross-country running, and I really enjoyed it. The only person I was competing against was myself. Never been really good at sports. I loved basketball when I was younger. I was terrible at it. I still am. I did track a little bit, was terrible at some of the team ones. So running was just always something that I enjoyed. Enjoyed it into college. That's one reason why I didn't gain, too much weight, even though I gained a lot of weight in college, was because I was running a lot. And so when I started getting back into fitness, it was running that I went to first. And one day I went and I watched one of my good friends go and complete her first half marathon. And during the time I was training with her, I was just running with her. She was telling me the race. We actually did some of the races together, and I absolutely was flat out. I might do a 10K, but I will never do a half marathon. There's no way you're going to get me to run 13.1 miles. It isn't going to happen. After a while, when we were training, when she was training, she was doing her longer runs, she was telling me about them. I was just so proud of her and what she was accomplishing. But I was adamant, I'm not going to do it. There's just no way I'm going to run anything more than 10K. Fast forward to her actually doing her first run, and I was so proud of her. She did something that she'd never done before. She worked hard at it, and she got herself, and she completed it, and she did a great job at doing it. At that time, my daughter was, I want to say, 2 years old, maybe a year and a half, close to 2 years old. I was, I wouldn't say too overweight, but I was trying to get healthier. I was trying to lose weight, and I was striving to drop some pounds. But when I saw my friend run that race and complete those 13.1 miles, all I could think of is, you know what, I can do that. I can run that. And so I decided to do my first half marathon the following year. I did the first half marathon, and it felt really good. And I was amazed that I was able to complete it. Now, you'd think that I would just, okay, I did my first half, now it's time to do a full marathon. But there's something about just running that I wanted more. And I was turning 32, and I felt like it was time for me to push myself more in the gym, because I was going to the gym and I was weightlifting, and I wanted to push myself further. I wanted to do something that none of my friends have done. I wanted to complete something that I've never even thought I would ever be able to do before. I wanted to do an obstacle course race. And one obstacle course race that I was very familiar with or knew of was what they call the Spartan. And I had looked into it. It looked good. I believed I could 100% do this. And so I wanted to do this race. And I did it. My very first one, and it was over 5 miles, and I was thinking like 3.5, maybe 4 miles. No, it was over 5 miles, and the obstacles were there. It was dry. I think that was the biggest thing, is I wasn't expecting it to be, so I've raced 10Ks before, and I knew I was going to have to throw obstacle courses in there, and so I was sitting there thinking, okay, well, I can do X amount of what they call as burpees. If you don't complete an obstacle in a Spartan, you're supposed to do 30 burpees. And now this is, if you don't know what a burpee is, it is you squat down, you go into a plank position, you bring your legs back up, you stand, you jump up, and then you repeat. And the burpees that they expect from you is chest to deck, push-up style, and this, you have to do 30 of those if you don't complete an obstacle, which, you know what, I thought, if I can do the obstacles, if I can at least do so many burpees and train myself for those burpees, I can complete this race. But it was the dry heat that I wasn't prepared for. And I live in Idaho, so the fact that I didn't think that the dry heat would bother me is surprising to me. And also it was June, and so it was closer to, springtime. And I mapped out how hot it would be. It was going to be in the 80s. I was okay with that. And I thought, it's going to probably be about maybe 4 or 5 miles. Maybe. And it was not. It was over 5 miles, and I remember running, and I would hit that mile mark, and I was just like, what? And then the next mile mark, I was like, is this ever going to end? And it was definitely. So I finished that race, and I wanted to do a trifecta. I just absolutely, that's what I wanted to do. I was only going to do one. Now, some people out there are so amazing with their abilities to do these races. They make a career out of it. And some people have done 15 plus trifectas, which, like I said, that's a sprint, super, and a beast. I wanted to do at least one trifecta one year. And Spartan races are very expensive. Not just the race itself. The race can be pretty expensive unless you order or register ahead of time. But with that being said, it's the travel time. It's if you have to fly or drive somewhere, hotel, gas if you're driving, plane tickets if you're flying, and you still have to get a car if you're gonna fly. So these races can be very expensive, and I really enjoy doing them, especially going someplace. So the trifecta I ended up doing was, like I said, the Las Vegas Sprint. So I traveled down there with a friend and we did that one together. And then the Utah Super. And again, I drove down there. I did that one by myself. I have a great support system. My man, I drag him everywhere with me. And then we went to Lake Tahoe for my third. And Lake Tahoe was actually the championship one. And that was, I want to say 18 plus miles. And it was the most amazing experience in the world. There was a point in time where I didn't think I was going to complete it, and I actually got towards the very end of the race, and I was so emotional about it, I just started crying. Like, I don't know what came over me, and that's another thing that I love about these races. This year I really wasn't thinking I was going to do one because money was one factor, but it was also, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of training, it's a lot of preparation. And although I really wanted to do one, I really wasn't thinking I was going to, and I was ended up able to. But going back to the Lake Tahoe, my beast, I love the camaraderie that comes with these runs. Complete strangers will help you complete these runs. And when I was there towards the end, somebody on the sidelines, they saw me struggle, and they saw me struggle with almost one of the easiest obstacle, which is the sandbag pull, where you're pulling a rope and you're getting a sandbag up. And I couldn't do it. My arms were giving out. I was on that course for over 9 hours, and I did not intake enough calories. I wasn't expecting it to be that long. A lot of the race was so long just due to the fact of how many people were out there, how much I had to wait in line during the open. So it wasn't just my pace, and my pace did really affect me there towards the end, but I was exhausted. I did not have enough calories in me. My body was just spent. And so running this race, I was weak, and I had to do 30 burpees for not making it. And I get there, and I failed that obstacle, and I went to go do the burpees, and I'm so emotional, I'm so upset. And this guy comes up, he's like, "You can do this. Look, you can do this. I will do it with you. You can do this." And he started doing burpees with me, and just encouraging me the whole entire time. And I am just so emotional, and I'm just crying. And that's one thing I love about these races is that Spartans, they work hard together. It's not just you out by yourself. Even though you might do the race by yourself, you have others there who are alongside you, who will cheer you on and congratulate you when you finish and cheer you through the end. And that means a lot to me, because the races themselves are emotional. The races themselves are you against yourself. You competing to push yourself to do and finish what you started to do. And sometimes some people don't finish them, but this race, that race, the Lake Tahoe race, it was beautiful. I raced alongside some amazing people. There was wounded soldiers there, people who didn't have even all their limbs, and they were doing this race. And to see that is just amazing beyond belief.
Casey hitting those monkey bars right now. He is amazing. I just saw him in Utah last week, and now he's killing it over here in Portland. Great job, Casey! That's what's up, ladies and gentlemen. This is true Spartan spirit right here. Give it up, Casey! Heck yeah, Casey. Show them how it's done, my friend. Come on. One more time, Casey. And Casey crossing the finish line. Welcome back, brother. Almost there. All right.
So that's another reason why I do these races. I enjoy them. I enjoy the people, the camaraderie, the people around us and around me. And my support group, it is amazing, who cheer me on at the end of the race. And if I didn't have my man to help me through this, I don't know what I would do without him. I dragged him all the way clear to Lake Tahoe. We literally drove 8 hours. We did the race, turned around and drove 8 hours back. We didn't even really get to enjoy anything, and he still did that for me. And to sit there and take my daughter and have my daughter do her first Spartan, it was a half a mile, and she loved it. And she complained about the idea the whole entire time. One point in time she said, I told her, you get a medal at the end. And she goes, it's a piece of metal you put up on the wall. She wasn't impressed, which I was surprised about because she's usually very impressed about getting a medal. She flat out told somebody that I was forcing her to do it. Mommy's forcing me to do this. So she's amazing to have done it and completed it, and she loved it in the end. I enjoy Spartan Races because it's something I can train for, and it's also, to me, it's something physical that you can complete, and it's not just, well, doing an extra rep, and it's not just lifting an extra 2 pounds or an extra 5 pounds. It is pushing your body, pushing yourself to reach a goal. And at the end of the day, did you achieve that goal? Did you race and finish that goal? So just like the half marathon, my very first half marathon that I did, I trained for it, I was able to accomplish it, and now Spartans are just my new goal at the end. And it really helps me to push myself in the gym. Really helps me to force myself to get stronger. Now, I plan on doing more Spartan races. My new goal, though, is to actually race a race. Doesn't have to be a Spartan, just a race, whether it's a 5K or a 10K even, in every state. And so I've actually added another state onto my list this year, and I'm hoping to continue to do that going forward. And so I don't know what the future will hold, but we'll see. Now, if you're interested in Spartan races or training for Spartan races or any of those, please leave me a comment below. I'd love to answer anything or even do another video about it. If you're at all interested in more information, I would be more than happy to give it to you. I am going to link the Spartan page in the description below, so that way you can go check them out yourself. For all my other fellow Spartans out there, I hope that I was able to explain Spartan races, and if you have any feelings towards Spartan races, you leave your comments below so other people can understand the reason why we do these races. Why do you do a race if you're watching this and you're a Spartan racer? With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Share this, give it a like, and I'll see you guys next time.